Australia is often seen today as a symbol of prosperity, a nation with world-class cities, stunning natural beauty, and some of the highest living standards on Earth. But behind the beaches and skyscrapers lies a complex and powerful story of transformation. This is the journey of Australia, from ancient land to penal colony to the thriving multicultural country we know today. The story begins over 65,000 years ago. Long before European explorers arrived, Australia was inhabited by Aboriginal peoples, the world's oldest continuous civilization. They lived in harmony with the land, forming over 500 distinct tribal groups, each with their own languages, territories, and customs. These First Nations lived undisturbed for thousands of years, adapting to every landscape from the lush tropics of the north to the arid deserts of the interior. That peace began to change in the early 1600s. Dutch explorers, sailing for trade routes to Asia, were the first Europeans to set eyes on the continent. Willem Janszoon landed in 1606, followed by others like Dirk Hartog and Abel Tasman, who mapped coastlines and named the island of Tasmania. They called the land New Holland, but the Dutch saw little reason to settle in such a distant and unfamiliar place. In 1770, British captain James Cook charted the eastern coast of Australia. He landed at Botany Bay, noted its rich natural resources, and claimed the land for Britain, naming it New South Wales. When the American colonies gained independence, Britain needed a new destination to send its prisoners. Australia, though remote, seemed perfect. In 1788, the first fleet arrived carrying over 1,400 people, most of them convicts. They initially landed at Botany Bay, but quickly relocated to what became Sydney Cove, where Governor Arthur Phillip founded the first British colony. Life was hard. Convicts labored under brutal conditions in a harsh land, but slowly some earned their freedom, became settlers, and started families. As settlements grew, so did conflict. Indigenous Australians, whose lands were being taken, suffered deeply. The British brought diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza, illnesses to which Aboriginal people had no immunity. These epidemics devastated entire communities. Cultural misunderstandings led to violence, and the resulting frontier wars stretched over a century. While some Aboriginal leaders, like Bennelong and Bungaree, tried to build bridges, tensions remained high as British settlers pushed further inland. Throughout the early 1800s, Britain expanded its colonial reach. Settlements appeared in Tasmania, Brisbane, Perth, Melbourne, and Adelaide. But one event changed everything: the discovery of gold. In 1851, gold was found near Bathurst in New South Wales. A massive gold rush followed, drawing people from all over the world. Australia's population tripled in just 10 years, yet not all who came found riches. Harsh taxes and poor treatment led to unrest. In 1854, miners at the Eureka Stockade rose in rebellion, demanding fair rights. Though defeated, they won public support. The event became a turning point in Australia's democratic development, giving rise to greater representation and equality under the law. By the late 19th century, Australia was booming. Cities were growing, railways expanded, and industries flourished. But economic hardship in the 1890s brought strikes, unemployment, and a push for political reform. A growing sense of national identity emerged, one that still valued its ties to Britain, but also envisioned a united, self-governed Australia. That vision became reality on January 1, 1901, when the 6 colonies federated to become the Commonwealth of Australia. Sir Edmund Barton became the first Prime Minister. However, early policies reflected the racial views of the time. The White Australia policy aimed to preserve a British majority by restricting non-European immigration, especially from Asia. Though now seen as discriminatory, it was then considered a tool to unify the young nation. Australia's global role changed during the World Wars. In World War I, Australian soldiers gained a legendary reputation during the Gallipoli campaign, fighting alongside New Zealanders as the Anzacs. Though the mission failed, their courage became part of national pride. In World War II, the threat came closer. Japanese forces bombed Darwin and sent submarines into Sydney Harbour. Australia realized it could no longer rely solely on Britain for protection, and began strengthening ties with the United States. After the war, Australia welcomed waves of migrants from Europe. Refugees and workers helped rebuild the nation. With this came the dismantling of the White Australia policy and the birth of modern, multicultural Australia. The economy surged, and infrastructure projects flourished. Australia entered a new era of prosperity. Yet the past could not be ignored. The country began to face its colonial legacy, particularly the treatment of Aboriginal people. Movements for reconciliation gained momentum. Efforts were made to protect Indigenous cultures, preserve languages, and acknowledge injustices. Though the journey is ongoing, progress continues. Modern Australia is a vibrant democracy, home to people from all over the world. Landmarks like the Sydney Opera House and events like the 2000 Olympics have helped shape its global image. From ancient wisdom to modern innovation, from convict camps to world-class cities, Australia's story is one of resilience, diversity, and constant reinvention. From hardship and conflict rose a nation that today inspires others with its spirit of fairness, opportunity, and freedom. This is the story of Australia, and it's far from over. Thanks for watching this episode from Informed Earth, where history, geography, and the story of our world come to life. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.